to this computer. And so thank you for joining us. And it's really exciting that you guys are coming to the completion of your projects for our first round of funding. And so this should be a simple webinar, basically going through the steps and just reporting of what we need from you. And then, of course, you have 30 days upon this month at the end of August to submit your reporting. And so just as an introduction for anyone who's new, I'm Shahela. I'm the program director of the Long Island Sound Community Impact Fund. With me are our team members. I'll pass it on to Andrea and then Kelly.
Everyone, I'm Andrea Polly. I am your grant administrator for the LISCIF project, and I will turn it over to Kelly.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly Marty, and I'm the program associate for the LISCIF program.
Yeah, and I think once we have gone through this webinar, we'll share the slides with you along with the reporting template and the recording. It'll all be on our website in case you have any colleagues who maybe missed it or there's someone on your team that does the final reporting and the admin part of the aspect of the project. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Andrea.
Thank you, Shahela. So again, guys, today we're just going to be going over our final reporting requirements as you guys wrap up your project. So it's just guidance. And it is in our grant agreements, but we wanted to make sure that we were able to have this group meeting just in case you had any questions on anything in particular regarding the final reports. So our objectives: understand the requirements, learn how to structure, identify key content to include, and we'll have questions and answers at the end. So this is required for all grantees, and it covers the entire project period. And so you want to make sure to include all the data, activities, outcomes, and challenges that you may have had during your entire project period. And as Shahela just mentioned, it's due 30 days following your project completion. So there is an executive summary required, and Shahela, I will have you explain that a bit more. But with that executive summary, make sure that it's written for a broad audience. Make sure that you're summarizing your project goals, accomplishments, and impacts, and include the tools and resources in all public-facing materials. And Shahela, if you want to add anything, if not.
Yeah, I was just going to add, just going through the template right now, it's similar to when you wrote your full proposal, just, talking about your problem, the project, how you addressed it, the impact, geographic area, your deliverables, and, any project partners that you had, recommendations that you learned from your project. So just different aspects of those elements kind of tying up from your initial proposal.
Thank you, Shahela. And so for your project descriptions and activities, you want to make sure that you're describing major activities from start to finish. Make sure that you use data from the progress reports that you've already submitted, so you could just add on to those. Highlight any milestones and events, and make sure that you include visuals, photographs, flyers, things like that. It's really good when we're getting the reports in to not only read what you guys are working on, but to also see examples through the many pictures of just helping out the community. Photos are really impactful. For your data collection and resources, make sure that you're summarizing all of the data collected and analysis methods. Make sure that you also put how others can access it, whether it be on your website or maybe a contact on how they can access your information. And highlight any tools, toolkits, or any publications that you may have developed. Include all communication and outreach materials as well. So any newsletters. I know some people, I see the newsletters each month, and it's just, again, just like the photos, it's really good to receive those newsletters, to just kind of see what's going on in the community and highlighting you guys' project and work. Make sure that, I'm sorry, my screen is a little, make sure that you are include any public reports or infographics, media coverage, and describe your purpose and your audience in the communication and outreach materials. Make sure you compare your work. We all know that when we get started, we have this grand idea and we're writing it all down. We are gonna heal the waters. We have, but once we actually get implement and it's our implementation period, some things may change. So make sure that you highlight your anticipated activities versus what you were actually able to accomplish. And that may be positive, or it may be just challenges that you face trying to do your implementation, but make sure that they are highlighted. And also, in addition to your outputs and outcomes, your work plan goals versus actual achievements that you were able to make. And again, any problems encountered. So if you had any delay issues or delays, I know that some of the issues that were brought up on some of the projects were just the price of items, your supplies. When you wrote your LOI and you wrote your proposal, you had an idea of just something small as is your budget. You intended to spend 2,000, but by the time you were actually implementing the project, prices had gone up because things changed. And so that's something that could have been challenging because you have your budget worked all out and you have to move things around. So that's just an example of just any type of challenges that you may have faced. Make sure that you highlight those and any impacts that it had on deliverables or your timeline. I know sometimes a challenge could also be the hiring process. When you are starting, you have positions that you have in mind. People may not work out, and you have to, so it may be a staff retention, anything like that that you may have, make sure that you highlight those. And any actions that you took to overcome those challenges. I've received communication from just several subrecipients of, maybe, and going back to staffing, we thought this person may work out, but what we decided to do was go in a different direction, and it worked out perfectly. So in addition to highlighting the challenges, discuss any remedies that you took or any adjustments to your strategies or any timeline modifications that you may have had to make based on those challenges that you faced. And this is something that is beneficial as we're collecting the reporting. It also allows us to maybe help future subs, and also your organization, because you're able to go back and kind of review those reports to see this is what happened, during this project phase. This is how we overcame it. So we can use this same approach on a new project. So it's beneficial to us as well as your agency. If there are any unmet objectives, and I'm sure there aren't, but if there are, please make sure that you also discuss any objectives that were not completed that were in the work plan, as well as explaining why they weren't completed. And for your budget and your cost analysis, make sure that you summarize all of your expenditures versus your budget. This is really going to be on your invoice cost table that we require for every invoice that's submitted. Your budget to actuals, we know that sometimes we've moved around different categories during our project period. So make sure that you're showing your budget to actuals on the invoice cost table. And also make sure that you are going back and capturing all cost. I know as we get to the end, sometimes there were delays in certain areas, and we may have a little bit of money left over, but make sure you really analyze your spending to capture everything that you have used for the grant purposes. It may be something as small as office supplies that weren't captured for that project. So make sure you really go through your receipts, your purchase orders, invoices, things like that, to capture all of the costs for the programs, and that you're submitting all of those on your final invoice. Even if it goes into, there may be costs that you find that you didn't submit for quarter 1. It's fine to still submit those to recoup those costs if you haven't already charged or already billed for those. So make sure that you really go through and figure out if there's anything that you haven't charged to the grant. And additional information, if you had unexpected outcomes or innovations, if you had partnerships that were created for your program that you didn't expect to have, or any testimonials or success stories from maybe the community or different partners, feel free to share those, as well as sustainability or future plans. I know some people may have received the LISCIF 25. So that's something that you may want to mention, or if you plan on going after future LISCIF funding, make sure to mention that as well. So on our submission checklist, again, you guys will get the slides at the end. So we have our executive summary, our summary of activities, work plan comparison, challenges and remedies, unmet activities, budget summaries, and any type of additional attachments, tools, materials, or data info. And I hope I didn't go too fast, but if there are any questions, then we can take questions right now. And even if you don't have any right now, if you want to email us, I know you guys probably already have our contact information, but it is included on the slides as well. So the floor is open if you guys have questions. Yes, Maury?
So I just have a question. Is there a narrative template, or it's just those pieces that we plug into our own template?
There is a final reporting template that we will send with the slides as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
I think we might get more, like, once people look at the template, you may have more questions then, but it's pretty straightforward, I think. Just kind of going over your progress reports you submitted throughout the year, looking over at everything. But yeah, any other questions?
They got it.
Great.
Yes, so feel free to reach out to us if you guys have any questions while you're completing it. And also, just a quick FYI, we are moving away from Blackbaud, and that's something that we'll discuss in the future. But if you guys want to email us those directly, you don't have to upload them to Blackbaud. Just email those to our team directly.